All this week in the podcast, we are thinking about Youier productivity, or Youier get stuff done. I am your host, Elle Edwards, founder of the Faith and Business Playground. I'm bringing you mentoring, accountability, and this podcast to help you embrace your inner weirdo, to help you be Youier, so you can make Jesus CEO in your life and business. Now, I did end yesterday's episode by saying that today we're going to be thinking about the one thing. Now, what do I mean by that? You're about to find out. Before I dig into that, though, I just want to remind you, if you have set yourself some really solid goals for the second half of 2019 and you'd like some help with that accountability piece, I do have two ways that we can play together. We can do it as part of the League of Brilliance. It's my group mentoring and accountability program, theleagueofbrilliance.com. Or if you'd prefer to work one-on-one, rentaboss.uk. And as ever, those links will be in the show notes. But today, the one thing. Now, I didn't explicitly mention this yesterday, but I hinted towards it. So you'll have heard me yesterday, if you've been listening along this week, you'll have heard me make mention of the fact, or reminding you about the power of consistent daily actions over time. And I told you that really is the secret to all of this. That's how I wrote and published 5 novels in 2 years. But I mentioned in passing that I haven't written and published any fiction yet this year. And it was originally, when I sat down back in December, I did actually have a fiction novel penciled in for the second quarter of 2019. We're heading into the final weeks of the second quarter, and I can tell you now, I've already tweaked my goals for this quarter. It's not going to happen. And quite candidly, I'm not convinced I'm going to be writing and publishing any fiction in 2019. But the reason why this is relevant to this idea of what is the one thing is that you only have so much time in the day. You only have so much energy. We talked on Monday about that reminder of how you need to work with your energy levels. We talked yesterday about the importance of underscheduling. You only have as much energy as you have. We've all got the same amount of time. But where you choose to focus, you will get better results on those things that you consciously make a choice about. And there is real power in being deliberate and being specific. So if you do use my Win the Week planner, you will see every single day there's a little space there that says, what if I get this done today, this will make the day great. As I'm speaking, I'm bringing up the planner because I phrase it more succinctly. Here we are. It's a question. What will make today great? That's how the question is phrased. I couldn't remember, even though I see it every day. How ridiculous is that? What will make today great? And there's only a small space there. There's not space to write a paragraph of all the different explanation of all the things that need to happen to make the day great. The inference is, what one thing will make today great? Now, there's a couple of advantages of this. The beauty of being specific, the biggest reason why I do it like this is that if you get that one thing done, it doesn't matter how the rest of the day plays out. You can still look back on the day with satisfaction and go, yes, I did that thing. And so ideally, that thing that you choose to write down in that space is something that by getting it done, you're going to be moving the needle on maybe more than just one project. Or by doing that one thing, you're going to make a difference in a number of different areas of your life. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. Sometimes, for me, the one thing, what would make today great, I'll write down. Record the podcast. I batch record these. Because they're only 10-minute episodes, I record a week's worth of episodes in one day. And even though 10 minutes times 5 is less than an hour of talking, as you can imagine, there's the stopping and the starting and the planning. It does seem, if that's my one thing for the day, it can quite easily wipe me out, which sounds ridiculous as I'm saying that. Well, why should talking for just less than an hour, take so much energy? But it does, and it's not just the actual talking, it's all the thinking and the planning that goes around it as well. So sometimes my thing that I write down is simply to record the podcast. Sometimes, I'm thinking about, at the time of recording, it's the half-term holiday. It's after half-term when you're listening to this, but it doesn't matter. When I'm recording it, I've got the children home all week. So one day this week, my one thing will probably be to do something related to having fun with them. It hasn't got to be work-specific things all of the time. But the advantage of writing down that one thing is it means that whatever else happens, even if there's other things you'd like to get done, if you get that one thing done, you can call the day a win. Woohoo! And we like wins. We're going to be celebrating the wins on Friday. So that's the big advantage of identifying the answer to the question, what will make today great? What's the one thing? The other advantage as well is that actually it forces you to have a little bit of clarity. So by taking the time to think, okay, now what is the one thing that would make a difference today? Just taking time to think about it, the actual act of thinking about it triggers to your brain that that stuff is important. So it helps filter in examples. The other advantage as well is that it forces you to say no to other things. And we said this yesterday. Every time you say yes to something, you are by default saying no to something else. So what is the one thing I want to say yes to today? What am I making my biggest priority today? There's something very powerful about that. But of course, this is Youier productivity. This is Youier get stuff done. So I feel compelled to remind you, of course, that it's the one thing for you. Now, just because I choose one day to record a podcast, or I might choose another day to write an article for Medium or whatever, just using some random throwaway examples, those are my one things. Your one thing will be different, even if you have a podcast and even if you like to write on Medium. So we need to, as much as possible, move away from this idea of looking externally for what that one thing should be. And this is where, and we're going to dig into this more tomorrow, but this is where, as people of faith, I do feel like we have an advantage because, God is interested in all of this stuff. He's interested in every single action that you take in your life and your business. And I believe he wants to be involved in all of that stuff. So I would encourage you, and this is something I do at the start of my day, I will sit down with a cup of coffee after I've read the Bible, and before I do anything else, I sit down and I really feel like it's an appointment with God. What are we going to do today? And I would encourage you to do that. And not just in a way of as an exercise to check off. Imagine that he's sat alongside you as you're doing this. Imagine, like I said, I think last week, imagine you've got him there whispering the answers to you. How much more powerful and how much more of a difference will you make in your life and your business today if you know that the one thing that you're choosing to do was directed by the person who or the being who spoke the stars into existence? I mean, whoa. Yeah, because he can see everything. And so it stands to reason if we can do this as a collaborative process with our creator, that's got to be a lot more effective than if we try and do it on our own. But like I say, we will dig into that more tomorrow because tomorrow's episode is all about being still, which is a challenge for some of us. I know I'm laughing because it's a challenge for me too. But I would encourage you to start thinking about it. And if it's not your practice already, I would encourage you to try it. Even if you give it a go and you decide, actually, no, that didn't work for me, that's fine. I've said before, there's no one size fit all. But unless you try stuff, you're not going to know. So like I say, give it a go. And depending on what time of day you're listening to this, if you're listening to this and it's the middle of the day, you might choose to try this tomorrow instead. What's the one thing, or what would make today great? That one thing you're going to get done, and then see what comes up. And get that done, ideally get that thing done first as well, because then you can call the day a win. Woohoo! And of course, as I've reminded you at the start, there are ways I can help you with this. I am an activator. What's the next step is invariably the next sentence off my lips. So if you'd like to do that in a group setting with mentoring and accountability, theleagueofbrilliance.com is the link you need. And it's rentaboss.uk to work together on getting your goals done in a one-on-one setting. I shall be back tomorrow. As ever, thank you for listening. And I shall catch up with you then. Take care. Bye-bye.